Hey, it's Marley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for June 2023. So on June 26th, we have Mercury, ruler of the mental plane, ruler of information, ruler of communication, moving out of this place of power in Gemini energy and moving in to Cancer energy. So let's talk about this for a second. You may remember back when I did the forecast for Mercury moving into Gemini that I said that by the time Mercury is at the end of the Gemini energy and we're transiting into the Cancer energy, we're all going to feel like our heads are going to explode. And I think for the most part, we could all agree that the mental processing has been a little bit much over the last couple of weeks, especially when we had Mercury in his place of power in Gemini while we were in Gemini season, because that was just a double dollop of power, not even to mention his power in being the rulership of that new moon in Gemini that we just had. It was a lot. It was a lot of pressure in the head, a lot of thoughts, a lot of processing. It was just enough. Well, here we are. We're at the final degrees of Mercury being in his place of power in Gemini. He's already given his rulership up over the new moon. He's no longer active there. He's already been dethroned as far as the rulership over the season, as the moon is now in the placement of power being in Cancer season. And now he's giving up his crown, his throne, from being in his place of power in Gemini energy. So this means that we should feel those intensities kind of dissipate. Let's hope. Now, when we move into Cancer energy, let's kind of talk about this for a second. So Cancer energy is a water sign. So we're talking high emotions, high intuition. We are talking about water energy in the fact that when we move into a water season or we have a planet move into water, first of all, what it does is it calms and it soothes, which I think we all need coming out of that high potent electricity of having Mercury be in Gemini energy. What it also does is it also kind of cleanses the palate, cleanses the mental plane, if you will. And it puts us in a situation to transform, because that's what the water element does, is it helps us to transform from one thing into the other. So Cancer energy is definitely going to bring a different lens to how it is that we see the world. We move out of wanting to have our hand in everything, because again, variety was the name of the game with Mercury being in Gemini energy. We had our hand in everything. There was a peak interest. We got distracted over here. We never really seen anything all the way through because we were just like squirrel brain, right? Just all over the place. This kind of helps us to slow down. This kind of moves us from having our hands in too many things to focusing in on what is needed the most. So instead of having, squirrel brain, we're going to eliminate I'm not going to say all of the options, but we're really going to whittle it down to a couple of options, a couple of topics, a couple of themes that need our attention, need our quality, energy, presence, and attention in order to address said issues. Now, Mercury rules over the way that we think, the way that we interact, the way that we take in information, the way that we perceive things. And now in Cancer energy, we are taking a softer approach, so there's not as much electricity there. We are also taking an intuitive and emotional approach to the way that we think, right? This is like blending our intellect, Mercury energy, with our emotions and our intuition, Cancer energy. So we're technically balancing this out, and we should end up with an alignment between our heart and our head by the end of this. Now, this particular, I'm going to say, shift is going to kind of put the blinders on. We're not really as concerned with what's going on the world stage. We're really, Cancer energy is focused on the home, focused on the family dynamic, focused on the boundaries and the foundations that we need in our day-to-day lives in order for us to feel safe and secure and stable. And so again, being in the year of 7, we are really focused on trying to find that inner grounded point, that inner peace, if you will, so that we're not being rocked by the outside world and all of the craziness that gets thrown at us on a day-to-day basis. And as long as our inner realm is safe and secure and solid, we should be okay. So we don't really care so much about what's going on in the greater grander stage. We are very focused on what matters for our lives. Again, Cancer energy needing to build a new foundation for us to be grounded, safe, and secure in. And so we're very kind of focused on what we need personally, individually, versus what everybody else is doing. We may be a little bit overly emotional, highly, I'm going to say, triggered by, and I don't mean it in a bad way, but like the balls in our throat of trying to choke down tears for no apparent reason will likely continue to be there. We're looking to have heart-to-heart conversations. We're looking to kind of express ourselves from a very sensitive heart place. We are just kind of more emotional and intuitive in our approach, especially with the people that we love. And so, it is going to be a little bit of a different dynamic, but we 100% need this energy, although it will create a lot of nostalgia. It will create a lot of sentimentality that will really kind of put a different spin on our emotions. But we really need this in order to kind of cleanse, soothe, and calm all of that mental stimulation that was getting to be a little bit much. So, instead of just looking at something and bringing the logical, practical insight and information and details in and just keeping it in the cerebral area of our intellect, we're dropping it into our heart space and really intuitively kind of mapping out the way that we think and feel about something, not just due to our intellect, but due to our emotional realm as well. So we're hypersensitive. We're able to kind of, read between the lines. We're picking up on subtle energies of other people, of the environment around us. And this is why we're moody. This is why our moods shift greatly when we're in Cancer energy, because we're hypersensitive to the world around us. We are just a little bit more introverted. We are a little bit more focused on our inner realm, on our physical realm as far as our home and our family dynamic goes, because we're really trying to figure out where it is that we can create balance, safety, security, and stability back in our emotional realm. And so, the Cancer energy just kind of brings a certain warmth to the very straightforward, semi-cold approach that we were in with Mercury being in Gemini, because information was the name of the game. Now, information isn't enough. We actually have to align an emotion with the information that we're bringing in order to form an opinion and truly express ourselves, not only get off of our chest what it is that we've been holding in, but be able to convey our thoughts, our ideas, our perception, our understanding with a heart-to-heart felt approach. So take a look at where Cancer energy is in your birth chart. This is where Mercury is going to be moving through. Download the Cancer Season e-guide if you want to kind of play along with all of these astro events and really do the shadow work that we need to be doing with all of these different fine-tuning astro events, bringing us a new energy, a new perception, and a new opportunity to kind of change and shift to get into alignment. So make sure that you understand where this is going to impact you and your life the most, and just observe how your mental plane has changed, the rapid speed of processing, the intensities, and where it is that you're a little bit more sentimental, nostalgic, emotional, and even intuitive than you have been over the last couple of weeks.